Hello, I'm Alexandra Papello, owner and founder of Mama and Ruth's Baby Wearing Baby Carriers. And today I'm going to show you how to use your newborn in a ring sling. My sample ring sling today is a Lotus Gold 100% linen ring sling, but you can do this with any ring sling fiber that you have. What's really great about a ring sling is that it's really good for teeny tiny babies. But I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks that I really like that I think make it easier to wear a ring sling with a tiny baby. If you're not sure how to get to this step with the threading, go back to our channel. We've got a how to thread your ring sling video. Real quick, do that, then come back here and we will get started. Okay, so first things first, my sling is already threaded. I want to make sure that I don't have this too loose. Because if I have it too loose with a newborn especially, it's just going to be a real pain to adjust. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my elbow in. And I find that that's a good sort of marker to start, especially with a newborn. I kind of want it just tight enough for my elbow. So I'm going to take and I'm going to tighten, sort of following the rails. Okay, so if you're not familiar, this is the top rail, this is the bottom rail. This rail, this edge, so rails, we want to imagine lines going down. Some of you have stripes in your carriers and that helps. So the top rail, when we tighten that in a ring sling, we want to come across our body. Mid rails, we want to go diagonal down. Bottom rails, if we need to, we want to do straight down. But we never want to just take the whole thing and yank it down because that's just going to cause us more grief. It's not going to help. So I'm going to sort of tighten around my arm a little bit more. The top rails seem to have too much. And another way to think about it is we can always sort of take from behind us, right? So these rings are static, but this fabric isn't. So we sort of take from behind us, pull it up, and sometimes, especially if there's a lot, we just push it through the rings. And then we kind of do like that. And so especially if you're not feeling comfortable with understanding kind of where to thread, where to go, where the slack is, that can be helpful too. So that's just me unbunching it. Really, really good to do. Always go ahead. If you're not sure if you're bunched up, just go look for those two edges, right? The bottom and the top rail. It's really nice that they're obvious, and this one I can tell really easily. So find those. I like to bloom that out sometimes, and then kind of pull from the edges and tighten there. Make sure that everything is smooth. Okay. And so when I look at this, I think this is going to work. It might be a little bit too tight at the top, so I'm just going to loosen just a little bit. So I just kind of pulled up on that top ring and pulled down just a little bit and do that. And then, because I want to set us up for success, okay, reach back, grab that bottom edge, pull that down, and put the ring sling up nice and high. And so you'll get the hang of where you like it. But some people even need to start it back here because I'm just never gonna get it super tight before I start. And I don't want to have to pull, because what happens is when you're tightening and baby's already in there, if the ring is already here, or even if it's here, if we do a lot of tightening, it's quickly ends up sort of in the center of your chest, uncomfortable for you, uncomfortable for baby. So we kind of want it to end sort of corsage height, I guess, when we're done. So if we're not sure if we're going to need a lot of tightening, having up higher is better. Okay. So I'm going to give this a go with my newborn doll. And I'm even do a little bit more because I'm going to kind of get baby a little bit more in the front. I'm going to show you some tricks. And I'm going to go get my baby. So always supporting baby's head, right? Bring baby over to that side opposite the rings. And this is my first trick. So I like to kind of bunch up the passes a bit, and I actually think I could make this a little tighter already. You don't realize how small newborns and newborn dolls are. So I like to kind of bunch this up, reach from underneath. Okay, reach from underneath, grab those baby feet, and of course always supporting baby's head and neck, okay? Grab those baby feet, put them in, all right? And, whoop, and then I like to set the knees right like on on that bunched pass, okay? And honestly, with a real baby, it's often easier to sort of plop them, because especially newborns, they sort of like bend around really nicely, right? So really just kind of what I want you to imagine with a newborn is I want you to imagine that your baby is in their sort of frog position, and you are just wrapping around them. That's what I want you to picture in your head. You're really just putting the fabric around their natural position, especially as tiny babies. So I really like this technique though. Sort of set them on that rail, then find that top rail, okay? And if you do this, right, so like when you get it like perfect, you're like, oh, it's perfect. It's like a glove. So you take that top edge and you work it up. Okay, and so I actually could have even done a little bit tighter, which is always like, oh my goodness, really tighter? But I could have, because babies are small. Newborn babies are small. So I basically pulled that up, and then you know, kind of check out the legs. We want to support knee to knee, support that nice froggy position in a newborn. And it's often helpful, just reach in between you, grab the bottom rail, just pull it up a little bit. You could pull it up to the diaper line. You don't even necessarily have to do that high. You know, just making sure that we feel like baby's nice and supported. Look, I've overextended that leg. Let's get that nice bend in there, right? So knee to knee support, nice froggy position, getting that bottom rail up and doing that. So I've now got a bunch of extra fabric in that top rail. What am I going to do about it? Okay, so we could do a couple of things. So this is a little bit too much even for some of our tricks. So I'm going to go reach back. There's a lot of fabric there, and I'm just going to go ahead and kind of push that in. So you see how I kind of push that up, and I took that, see how it's right there, that top rail, and I'm going to kind of pull there. If it gets a little twisted, just move things around and untwist. That's the really awesome thing about fabric. It can be really forgiving. It's coming up to my neck, pulling down. And so I want to show you all this because I want you to know that like it can take a little bit of practice and maneuvering. So I just reached down for that bottom rail, pulled it down. Okay, so that's one way to tighten up there with a newborn. Another really nice tip though that is kind of unique to a ring sling in some ways, we can actually take this whole tail. So let's make that a little bit looser at the top so you can kind of get a good example. So I made that really loose again. I can take this tail, I can twist it up real tight. So if I'm happy kind of with the rest of it, but I feel like I want a little more head support, I take this up and I twist, twist, I twist, I twist, I twist, I twist. Okay, all the way. I'm going to take this top edge, I'm going to fold it over that twist. All right. And now, so if you've ever heard someone say, oh, just put a little towel to support, that works really well for a woven wrap. But if you have that tail, especially with the ring sling, like look how nice that looks. It sort of tucks that all to the side and you've got that extra head support. And because the top rail, it's so easy for someone who is new to wrapping to have that extra fabric at the top, it just kind of happens. And then we can get really frustrated. That's a really simple way. It's safe and we can wrap that up and put that top edge around. Baby's nice and secure. They've got a nice thing. So we haven't blocked the airway, right? We always want to make sure we're not blocking the airway. So like when I brought that up, I just wanted to bring it up no higher than the base of that itty bitty ear, okay? But you've got that nice neck support, open airway. They're nice and close to me, okay? So this is a really big thing. We will see people wrapping all the time, wrapping newborns, wrapping babies, and they're new, and they put baby like right here, okay? So this is where baby's head. You don't want to do that. You want them nice and high, easily able to kiss, easy kiss, right? We're not giraffes. We're not going like this to the middle of our chest. That is because that way we can easily see that the airway is open. Okay, so I can look in there. I can see that there's space under the chin, right? The chin is not tucked on the chest. It's nice and open. I can see that nice open airway. I can hear their breathing. And I can feel their breathing, okay? So all of these things together. And then also when they're lower on your chest, There's more clothing. If you have breasts, you've got just more soft tissue there. So having them up above that for their airway is really, really important for safety and also for comfort for you. I know as a new parent with a newborn, when my son was a newborn, it was a lot of like, is he still breathing? Is he still breathing? And it's so much easier to know if they're right there. So this is actually a really good place to have a newborn on your body. Okay, more tiny baby tips. So we've got that with the head support. What else can you do? Right, we're gonna check body position, check that. What if baby needs to nurse? Or have a bottle. We can do either. I had to do a special video on bottles just to kind of visualize with the bottle in my hand because I don't have one right now. But you could do either. So to do that, you would take this top ring, loosen, okay. Get baby into position. Whether they are a newborn or not, they can nurse in this upright position. Now, it takes a little bit of time. So we like to say, breastfeeding and baby wearing are two different skills. And sometimes it's nice to sort of feel like you've got one mastered before you move to doing them combined, right? So kind of feel like you've got a handle on each individually. But upright is totally fine for a newborn. It's totally fine for newborn nursing. So kind of get them into position, right? Loosen them, get them adjusted. And then when they are done that side, simply scooch, right? There's lots and lots of scooching. So you can scooch, loosen, do that. It may or may not be as comfortable to do it this way, but this is an option, okay? So scooch them over to the other side if needed. And then the thing that you want to remember, you cannot leave them here. So once they fall asleep, they're done eating, the meal is over, just bring them back up. And so if you were to do a bottle, it would be the same thing, right? You probably can't feed them when they're up on your chest, but you can certainly lower them, give them the bottle here, and then same thing. Once they are asleep, once they're done the meal, simply lift them back up into the proper position. Whoop. So I let my baby do a little bit more loosey-goosey. You don't want to do that. You always want to support. Okay, so you see how I just kind of lifted baby up, adjusted that position, double-checked, everything's okay. Get them back in that froggy, and again, your newborn is gonna mold right where they belong. Okay, and then we just retighten to keep them in place. Really nice, especially if you are on the go a lot, or if your little one nurses a lot, or if you have older kids to care for. Really nice to be able to just kind of wiggle them down, keep an eye on them, make sure that they're comfortable and supported, and bring them back up as soon as they fall asleep or they're done their meal. Okay, and then we've got them right there. Other things that you can do. So you've got this long extra tail. What do you want to do with it? So some people don't mind having it down. If you want it kind of out of the way, one thing you can do is just wrap it around the rings. Of course, you want to make sure that depending on the direction your newborn is facing, that they aren't, that they aren't sort of being pressed up against that, right? We don't want them pressed up into the fabric. That would be bad. We need to keep an open airway. But that's something you can do. Some people do really fancy little flowers or whatever, but you can wrap it around the rings and that keeps them out of sight. They are baby safe. Ours are, at least they're tested to be baby safe and baby fingers and baby drool, but it's nice to cover it if you want to. You can also, like we said, we did that twist over the top. We can also kind of do like a second pass. So we kind of just spread that over. And then I like to kind of tuck right up in here, kind of adding an extra seat. I reach down from above and I pull that up. That's also really nice if your little one's a little bit older and they are, doing a lot of seat popping in the ring sling. That can help to sort of do that second pass and get them secure. So that's also a nice way to kind of tuck that out of the way. Baby wearing is a wonderful tool with your little baby. Ring slings are wonderful for this. They're so comfortable for newborns. Newborns really enjoy them. Just takes a little bit of tweaking to get the hang of it, but I know that you will love it. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us at Mama and Rue's, mama-rue.com, and we are happy to help. Enjoy wearing your little baby.